Okay. So this is the continuing committee's March 2020 board meeting for the board of directors. I'm Brian Schaefline, director of operations, now the chairman. In attendance, we have Maggie Geppert, who's the executive officer, and we got Charlie Plain, director of first edition. Nick Yankovic, director of second edition, will be joining us later. Chris Sonsonby, the director of organized plays here. And we've got Justin Ford, chief financial officer. Okay, so first things first, approval of minutes from the last meeting. Has anyone noticed anything wrong with the minutes? Nope. Okay. Can we get a motion to approve them?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All right, Chris motion, Maggie second. Anyone opposed to approving the minutes? Okay, then let's consider them approved. Department reports. This is a bit different now because Maggie's not in charge of the meeting. So Maggie, would you like to go first as executive officer?
Well, I think most of the things that I was going to talk about are down in old business. So, I mean, I haven't had any I guess, much to report on in terms of things that I am supposed to be doing. No public, no public complaints at the moment. No changes to the bylaws right now. I haven't worked on the diversity statement or the changes for the changes to how we define a member. I haven't done any of that work yet. So, I think that that's pretty much my my report as executive officer.
Okay. Charlie, first edition?
Sure. Let me know if my sound goes south because apparently I'm having problems.
It's a little quiet, but it's okay.
This microphone sucks.
Yeah, I think it is the mic.
I'm pretty. I feel like I'm a broken record, but I think Winnie is going pretty well. I'm fortunate to have a really great staff of volunteers and department heads that keep things running even when I'm stressed out and busy, which I have been. But the big news, obviously, is the Neutral Zone comes out on Friday and be legal 1 week later. I think Patty, who's one of the designers, is running an all-day online regional that day to let people try it out for the first time. I think their reaction has been good. Testers really like the set during testing. So far, the reaction has been mostly positive, other than a few issues. We did miss an interaction between Squire's Rules and Dyson Sphere Door, which is being fixed. That's an unfortunate situation. Nobody is, you have 100 playtesters play with the cards 100 times and still miss something. So that's basically just what happened. Is we all knew how it was supposed to work, so we didn't do our due diligence there. There were a couple of proofreading errors that have been fixed. There's a missing period on a tactic, and we had inadvertently swapped the species of Spock. All of the Spocks say half Vulcan, half human, and we had done it backwards. So we fixed that. So those will be fixed for release day and updated on the site soon. We sent Project Londo, which is the Klingon set, the third set of the block, to testing this week. Eager to hear some reports there. This is the first set where our playtest manager, Austin, has been in place from start to finish. So we had the design team sat down with Austin before we went to testers and went through everything and helped him build a playtesting plan. I'm excited to see how some of that goes. Like, one of the things he's going to do is build test decks in Lackey, so if people are pressed for time, they can grab one of the test decks and just play without having to build a deck, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, we're moving forward. Got some big things in the hopper for you guys that I'm hoping to be announcing soon, including two very popular returns of things that people have enjoyed in the past, and some new expansions that are getting started, and it's going pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with where we are and where we're going. And in terms of Tribbles news, the new Tribbles set is done and off to production. It's getting its initial proofreading pass now. Art requests have been submitted, and that will be coming out in May. So we just can't do April 1st. We just had too many. Basically, a 1E set, a 2E set, and a Tribbles set all kind of came up at the same time, and obviously I slipped Tribbles because, you know, yeah, it's definitely the third priority game. No offense to Tribbles fans, but it's going to come out on May 5th, which is my birthday, which I think is a fantastic day to release a Tribbles set. So, the only real issue is that we have not moved forward with replacing the errata team lead yet. The reason for that is I'm taking this opportunity to sort of determine how to move forward with the errata team. Do we want to make any changes to like where that lies in the structure of the department and so forth? So I'm working through that process. I'm expecting to be having some information on that for everybody soon. But, and if you were wondering why that has not gone up, that is why it has not gone up. The team is basically at a point right now where if I'm going to be making changes to how it works, now is the time to do it, and that is what I'm looking at. I don't think there are any other big issues. We renewed the watch list in March and banned a couple cards, and we've been looking at results since then. Obviously, the global pandemic has reduced the number of games that have been played. So, and speaking of that, I do hope everybody out there is staying safe and washing your hands, but playing 1E when and where you can. I'm going to start teaching Andrea and Chris how to relearn how to play 1E here soon because we got nothing better to do. So that's really all I have to say. If you have specific questions for me, ask them, and I'll be happy to answer them. The department is a pretty well-oiled machine, and there are some problems with the state of the game, but nothing so serious that we're panicking. You know, it's more like, you know, the best analogy I can come up with right now is like the people who were smart about what was going to happen when Y2K was a thing spend a bunch of time like there's going to be a problem at a certain point, and that's where we're at. We're like, we think there's going to be a problem, let's start addressing it, versus, you know, we just struck an iceberg and we're sinking. So I think we're very much in pre-Y2K mode and not post-iceberg Titanic mode for one. I think the game is overall in a pretty good. The game and the community and the department are all in a pretty good place. So that's my report.
Okay, we'll move second edition back. Hopefully Nick will be able to join us. Let's see, we're missing a communications director. Maggie, do you know anything from that department?
Yeah, actually, I can give a little report on what I've been doing with the Ambassador Corps. And so also I can do some stuff with the writing team and proofreading. So the next second edition set, I don't know, actually, it's called Project Lassie. I don't remember if the name has been announced yet. I don't want to steal Nick's thunder on that one. But the Project Lassie is in the hands of the writing team right now. We have a final art proof for that. And so people have claimed articles for that. Articles are going out, of course, for the neutral zone. I suppose Daniel will start to solicit articles when we get Tribbles. sets. So the writing team is moving forward. We're always looking for more people for the writing team, though, of course. Proofreading, they're chugging along. There's sets in there. The ambassador corps, right? We still don't have a chief ambassador. I'm hoping that is when we get a new director of communications, which I'll update you all on the search. That's down in old business. I'm hoping that whoever the new director of communications is will step up and search for a new chief ambassador, make that search a little more of a priority, because the ambassador corps has been underutilized pretty much forever. I think they're a great resource and we need to do more with them. They will be the thing that they will be getting in their hands hopefully pretty soon is some ambassador promos for 2020 that they can give out, and that's what's going on in communications team. Oh, and Austin's been doing a great job putting stuff out to social media, spoilers for the neutral zone. So thank you, Austin, for your work. So that's what I know from communications.
Okay. Let's see. Next up, we got ops, which is me. Marcus Eberlims has been updating the plugins. Over on the 1E side, the new plugin that he just put out now has all of the deck piles. So, it's got tactics and it's got tribbles and it's got Q-Flash and Q-Stent and ref pile all separate. So when you save your deck and then you load it into the game, those piles all have their cards already in them. You don't have to move things around when playing online. I'm trying to think what else happened. Hasn't been a lot of movement on the news sites. Marcus and I were working on the making the Lackey import and export free, but I'll get to that in the old business. We had some new kits being launched for the new sets, and those should be going out soon. I believe Maggie shipped some stuff off to Dan, and Dan should be working the rest out. I think that's it for ops for this month. So Chris, how about organized play?
I feel like my department's probably been the biggest impacted by the global pandemic. So I just want to first and foremost thank Michael and Jules and all the TDs out there who are just getting creative and doing what they can to keep people playing, whether that's online or bumping their league events or some of the other things that have come through lately. Obviously, we're in a very uncertain world, so I just appreciate everyone's adaptability and willing to just keep the game going and be that distraction for people while we kind of really need it right now. I've got some online events that I'm running. I know that Patty's looking to push his regional into online. That'll be next week. I think somebody maybe already mentioned that. As far as other main events, I talked to Jules, and Jules has indicated more than likely his continentals, the European continentals, are going to be pretty profoundly impacted. They may not be able to travel to Worlds. Those players who are trying to may not be, depending on where sanctions are. And Jules is looking potentially, again, given how long things are taking, at pushing his continentals further out. Maybe that's July, maybe that's even August over the same weekend at Worlds. We don't know yet. We're trying to be flexible, and with his space in Vienna, he's kind of said this year maybe I just leave it here in Vienna because it just makes the most sense for him to coordinate. He's already got a space that's very fluid. So if you have applied to host continentals this year in another place, I would talk to Jules, but I would imagine, just given the circumstances, it's probably going to be in Vienna again this year, and date to be determined. As of this point, my understanding is there's no change with North American continentals nor Worlds here. and I would just keep, paying attention to those threads and looking for announcement updates. Again, I would just really encourage people, if you have not played online, or to Charlie's point of if you got time in your home and you got a couple of roommates, get some tournaments going. There's 24-hour notice, 3 of you could play, even if it's with starter decks. Who cares? Just play the game, keep playing, and even if the regional happens and it's just starter decks, I don't care. I just want people to play. So that's kind of the big update. Obviously, the organized play guide is still in process with everything else that's been backburnered. I'm hoping to get it done either today or this week, and then update it on the site. And as I mentioned in other meetings, there's not a whole lot of changes, just a couple things here and there. Mostly it's proofreading, and it's been things we've talked about before, like the whiteboarded promo cards for 1E are going to turn off the legality of that because that caused an issue. We talked about like regional buys. More than likely, we're going to do away with the hand down, so you actually have to earn one. But those are like the big changes. I mean, everything else is going to be very, very minor. But yeah, again, I just reiterate: jump into an online tournament if you're stuck at home, like I am, and we're very flexible with those league playoffs, with those early season regionals. Push them back if you need to. We'll get you the kits when we can get them to you, obviously, because the logistics are kind of in flux too. But yeah, I can't stress that enough. Just keep playing. I'm going to try to play an online game here today, and obviously Maggie and I played in that sealed event. That was super fun. It's a great distraction to just play. And Tribbles, right? If Charlie's doing Tribbles, if all those other games aren't your thing, let's just all do a social happy hour where we're playing Tribbles on Lackey. What better way to spend a Friday night than do that? So Brian's smiling. I think that means he's in.
I would play Tribbles. Also, just with respect to the date of Worlds, of course, I am certainly willing, if given conditions of the pandemic, if we need to, Worlds can be pushed back to October. I'll take time off of work. I'll get subs if need be to run those days, if it has to happen later in the year. But at this moment in time, I'm, as usual, everything is in flux. I'm willing to be flexible on that issue, but because I want people to feel comfortable being able to travel here.
I agree 100%. And my PTO for work, they know I'm going to need time. I haven't even put it in. My boss is cool enough that if it's August, if it's September, if it's October, it doesn't matter. Like, I'll be down there running events and making sure that Worlds is the big event we all hope it is every year.
Yeah. Also, kits. I meant to mention this when during the operations ones. I have sent off promo sets 20 and P to Dan as of yesterday. So all of the promos that I recently received have been assembled and shipped off to the warehouse. So yeah, hopefully Dan. I think Dan's working on that. He's going to get us an update on inventory for the next. He said he sent me that yesterday. He's going to get us an update on inventory so that we can determine what sort of stuff we need to send to Jeremy to fill up a big order of printouts.
Okay. And one last organized play thing. I want to plug the Neutral Zone release tournament that I put up for online play. So yeah, let's come play with Squires Rules, everyone.
Right. Right. I mean, we again, you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people are hosting online tournaments right now, and it's almost if you're playing them all, you could be busy every day of the week with a game for one of those tournaments. It's all, play as much as you can, play as much as you want to. And yeah, again, I appreciate you setting that up. That Squires Rules issue, I don't know what they have. I feel like I'm gonna just let my opponent just pick all the dilemmas. You put them under. I don't want to deal with it.
That might be. Yeah, I might have to change.
Might be the solution. I don't know.
We'll see
That'd
after that first round.
Yeah, you pick your poison. You don't have anybody to blame but yourself. Well, I guess that wall. I put it there. That sucks. Yeah, it's an interesting time to definitely be playing online. If you haven't before, you got to try it right now, because it's going to be difficult to play in person for the next couple months, and we all need to get our fix, right, Charlie? Got to get your fix.
Yeah, I will say this on the Squires Rules, because I did testing with it on Lackey, and I don't recall being able to see the dilemmas, but like if you're trying to make, if you're cheating, you're missing the point of this card. This card is
Of the card. Yeah.
it's chaos incarnate. Stop cheating. Just like it. Just don't try. Don't look at what's coming. Just be like, first of all, run 18 or 24 dilemmas if you can. It's just easier. And then you can always, I just put 3 under, I put 4 under. But
24.
Yeah,
Challenge
don't.
accepted.
Like I understand that we have to have a policy to not look at it, but just don't. Just shuffle and just do it. It's so much more fun.
Yeah,
Chaos makes it great.
I think that's more where I was going. Was this is the official policy, but you know, everyone just put them out there. Just throw the cards out there on the table. You know.
Right. That whole public ridicule thing. If you cheat, I mean, you don't be that guy, right? That's always been the #1 rule of online play. Don't be that guy.
All right. If that's everything for organized play, then Justin, finances.
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet. Got a lot of catch up done yesterday. Decided to not do real work, which obviously is still piling up, but I get caught up on this stuff. Tax deadline was pushed back to June due to the pandemic, but it's not going to take till June. I'll get it done in April when like normal. And have to refile our annual report in April as well to keep the organization status active for the next year. So that's April. Yeah, everything's good. I haven't received a single invoice from Jeremy yet, and so I'm a little concerned because there's been a lot of stuff being printed, and so I'm hoping he can get us an invoice soon, so we can get him paid and get those invoices taken care of. So hopefully that'll happen soon.
Okay. Old business. Search for director of communications. Maggie, is there any more information on that?
Basically what I've done, what I did yesterday was I put up an article asking people to join the search committee. So far I have 3 volunteers. I don't think that, I should ask, I don't think that any of them will have a problem being public, but that's where we are right now. I'm going to put out an official, I've got an application put together that is basically a copy of the application for the last time that we did this. So I'll share that with all of you and ask for suggestions also. But I'd like to start the search on April 6th. So a week from today and a bit. So if there are any people out there who are interested in being director of communications, please consider applying. So that process, and I'm hoping I'll have a candidate for you. Yes, hi Miles.
Okay.
This is Rocket Boy on the boards. All right, now go away. Yeah. So yeah, so we have so that's where we're at right now. Basically, like everybody else, this whole transition to working from home, it has been quite a challenge. So that has gotten pushed to the side a bit, but I'm making headway and getting back into all the track projects. So yeah, the search will start Monday. I have 3 other people right now on the search committee. I will ask them and make sure that they're comfortable being known publicly. I don't think the search is going to be quite as extensive as the 2E director search.
Thank you for being polite on that.
It was extensive, but it's a much less controversial figure than the director of 2nd edition as well. So yeah, I'm hoping I'll have a name for the next board meeting. That's my report.
Okay. Let's see. Next thing from old business is making the Lackey integration free for everyone. That'd be me. Marcus Eberlims and I been working on that since last month when we voted to make it free. honestly, mostly Marcus writing the code. I was just squashing bugs and integrating it into the site. So we've been testing the importing and exporting for decks for all 3 games. So far, they all seem to work without any problems. So assuming we don't come across anything breaking, I plan to implement access for everyone or every member, every free member, sometime this week. I'll write an article announcing that and showing how to use it, both the import and the export into and out of Lackey. Probably publish that article after all of the first edition articles for the new set have finished. Or if Charlie doesn't mind, I'll squeeze it in this week and it'll just kind of appear. I don't know. I don't know what the press.
I don't think you have to wait. Go for it whenever it's ready.
Okay. So that'll probably all go up sometime this week, and then everyone can import and export for all the games to and from Lackey. So that's everything for that.
I just want to say thanks to you and to Marcus for your hard work on it. I know it's not easy, and anything that makes it easier for people to play online right now, obviously I'm 100% behind. So thanks for your work there, Brian.
No problem. But definitely most of it was Marcus. So most of the thanks should go to him.
Wizard. Yeah, he's a wizard. I actually just I built the deck yesterday, Charlie, for the event we're playing in. And he's right, all those tabs are there. Your Battle Bridge, your Q Flash, your Dyson Sphere, everything. So, and you put them all in there and then you hit save, load, no moving anything around. You're ready to go. It's great.
Yep. Okay, so let's see. Next old business, the rainbow foil paper. I think Charlie, you're kind of spearheading what's going on there. Any new info?
So I don't know how much the situation is known, but the place we used to buy our rainbow foil paper from just they stopped making it because according to them, they weren't selling enough to justify it. But they still have a big roll of the stock in their warehouse. So I reached out to them and I'm like, "Are you not making this anymore? What can we do?" And they were, yeah, they explained the situation to me, and I'm like, "Well, what would we have to do to get it, to get you to run it again?" And I heard from the owner of the company like almost 2 weeks ago now, and he basically said we'd have to place $1,000 order. But that was it. He didn't say like all at once, or he didn't say if I could do it over time, or he didn't even tell me how much that would give me. But he basically said if we bought $1,000 worth of it, they would make that roll, and then whatever we didn't buy, they would stock back on the website. So I'm trying to get. He's apparently doesn't, and then everything shut down. So my guess is their business shut down for the virus. Although they're in Texas, and I don't know that Texas has shut down as much as everybody else. So I don't know. In any case, I don't have an answer to those questions yet. I was really hoping to get a hold of the guy. I did track down a phone number, but I didn't get the phone number till Saturday. So I'm going to call on Monday. But it's possible. I think that we need to have a plan for what we're going to do if we can't get it again. But even if the plan is as simple as we just go back to printing everything on regular foil paper, that would be a big bummer, especially for the borderless promos. But that's where we are with that situation. Is that I don't know how much we have to spend. He wants $1,000, and Justin has indicated that we can't do that at once. But we could discuss that and make a decision, or I just don't have the answers to the questions on if we can do, part now and part now. Because to me, this is just me personally. If $1,000 buys us 1,000 sheets of foil paper, that's probably 10 years worth of promos. So, if not more. I mean, I don't know how we don't print all that many. Obviously, we want to be more restrictive about what we did on it. We'd probably take. Because right now, I think Masters, Continentals, Worlds, and the borderless promos go on that, and that's it. So we might even say, well, we're not going to do Masters promos on it anymore, and it's just going to be Continentals, Worlds, and borderless, and then that would last even longer. I just don't know how much $1,000 gets us. If $1,000 only gets us 200 sheets of stock, that's a lot bigger investment than, you know, if it gets us 1,000 sheets of stock. So I don't know that we can make an informed decision until I get those answers, but that's the situation. Is the people who can make it can do one more run if we invest in it sufficiently. So that's the situation at its core. We just have to decide what we're willing to pay, and I'll continue negotiating and seeing if we can land that deal. But we should probably have a backup plan just in case, because we're going to need to print Continentals and Worlds foils for this year soon, and we have none. We have none in stock. So
Okay. It looks like Nick has joined us. Hi Nick, do you want to do the new business for second edition?
Yep, can do. Apologies for being late. As I'm currently living in a third world country. Right, so a few things on 2E. So the next set should be ready for release. We're hoping for the 17th of April, which is coincidentally my birthday. We've got Project Bruce is still in play testing, and I can see it still being there for the next few weeks. We have we've split Clark into 2 separate sets to reduce the size somewhat, but they're both ready to go into play testing as soon as there's a spot available for them. And on the issue of play testing, I'm still looking for a play test manager. I think I found one, which I should be able to announce soon, hopefully. But in the meantime, I'm taking over as interim play test manager to try and control some of the comments that are coming up on the play test boards and make it a bit more productive. That's pretty much it for 2E at the moment.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see, back over to the agenda. What do we have? New business, COVID-19. We've kind of touched on that already. And I think, yeah, our general stance, I think, is probably do whatever your local health officials tell you. I don't know if anyone else has any prepared statements, but I think that's a very, very good advice.
Yeah, I mean, that was basically the organized play article that went out. Just said, you know, do what you can to keep playing, and obviously follow your local mandates. If that's a 2-week quarantine because you're potentially exposed, then do that. If you're living in a third world country like Nick, go get your bread and your milk or whatever the hell he's doing this morning. Whatever they need to do locally, do what they're telling you. I mean, I'm sure. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I'm guessing we're all on the same page there. By all means, stay safe.
So they're saying today that the UK might be in lockdown until June now. And like I said, it took an hour to queue up just to get into the supermarket this morning. It's not good over here.
Yep. Okay. So everyone be safe. Play if you can, but be safe first. What else we got? Other new business was extend or remove the recent activity tournament director requirement for buying tournament kit passes. I think what happened was someone wanted to buy a release kit for Neutral Zone, but hadn't run a tournament in the past 6 months, which is what the current requirement is. So do we want to discuss changing that requirement so that more people can purchase kits and potentially then run an event with that kit? Or what is everyone's thoughts?
I thought that went away a long time ago. I guess I was surprised that even still existed. I mean, from an organized play standpoint, what's our worst case scenario? They buy the kit and they don't run a tournament. Like, why do we care? We still made the money off of the sale, as long as they're not trying to sell the cards. Like, right? That's the only thing I think it'd be a concern.
Well, if I recall correctly, the origin of this was when we first started putting the kits up, there was no rule and people were hoarding them.
Okay.
People were buying them for collections. People were buying them to try to resell. It was a problem. And so the origin of this rule was you have to have been active
Okay.
to get one. You can't just walk in and get one. The reality of the situation, 12 years on is active is different than it used to be. I think was my thought was, and I'm certainly not opposed to saying we're going to get rid of this and see how things go. But given that we've had supply chain issues and stocking issues, I'm not sure going straight to everybody who wants one can buy one is the right decision. But I think it was Brian Sykes who said, there are groups that basically play once a year,
Mhm.
and we should let them still get a kit. And I'm like, that's probably true. I think that's probably the reality of what some of our play groups are doing. So changing it from 6 months to 12 or 13 or even 15 months didn't seem unreasonable to me when that suggestion was made. So that's why I wanted to talk about it.
Is it possible, Brian, from a logistics standpoint, to just cap it? Like, you can buy at most, whatever, 3 kits, right, at one time, and you can only get one of each one. Is that possible? So, like, let's say they just want to buy a release kit. You can just get that, but you can't get 7 release kits because you're trying to hoard them.
I think putting a limit on the quantity in each purchase would be simple enough. I haven't looked at the code for the shop itself, so
Okay.
I think there is currently a limit to how many you can buy, of at least
Okay.
current stock stuff. I think when we do like Dan finds old kits or we do a refit run, I think those are unlimited.
Okay.
I think
No, I don't think we have a limit
Wait.
on the kits right now.
we have a limit
don't.
on the passes. I think
You have a
the
limit on
is the
passes.
TD
That's what he's saying.
The things that let you buy the kit. I think you're only allowed to have a certain number of those. So you could buy one of those however often you're allowed to buy them, save them up, and then buy a bunch of kits. But I could be wrong on this too. I'm way out of date on my info.
Yeah, we don't want to limit necessarily the number of kits people can get. We lifted that because the shipping costs got so expensive to Europe, and we're adding on that $10 shipping charge for people outside the U.S. So we lifted the number of kits you could buy to let like Canadian and Euro and Australian folks buy multiple kits so they wouldn't have to spend that extra $10 every month to buy kits. So, I mean, there's all these moving parts to think about there.
I mean, I'd be almost willing, instead of having you have to run a tournament what is it currently in 6 months? Is it 6 months or 12 months? Maggie?
I think he's saying 6.
It is currently 6.
I think it's 6, but I haven't checked. So I don't
If
know.
it is
Yeah,
6,
it's 6.
so if it's 6, and like to Charlie's point, some groups play once a year. Set it from 6 months to 12 months. You got to run at least one event in a 12-month cycle. So you run your one event from the previous year, you get your kits for your next annual event. So there's some limit, but it's relaxed a bit.
I guess I'd be in favor of that too, with the caveat that let's say you have a brand new TD and they want to buy a release kit, right? They're excited about the Neutral Zone. They're excited about Project Lassie. I think that those, if we limit them to just one, maybe you say, who cares who buys them? Like, I'm trying to think from Justin's side, the CFO side. Let's try to make money off of those kits, even if they don't get them in a timely fashion.
Like even change, like have all your other kits maybe be the once in 12 months, but then release kits, it's one per person, but have no requirement on an event.
Yeah. That was a lot more eloquently than I stumbled through what I was trying to say.
I guess the only issue with that would be the potential for demand. I'm not saying there would be so much demand that we would run out of stock before people who are actually running release events get a kit, but we don't make a lot of kits anymore. So, like if you just open it up to say anyone who just signed up now as a tournament director can get one, would they be gone before people who run the events end up with one in their hands?
You know, I don't think so because our release kits, we really have never actually sold that many release kits. Looking back, I mean, we sold more 2E than 1E release kits. Sacrifice of the Angels looks like we sold about less than 15 of them, like I think 14 kits. Less than Perfect Union was a little bit higher. Last 1E set was less than 15 as well. And so we don't sell that many of them.
Yeah, I feel like those kits are the ones that are always like the blowout sales, like 3 months later. I feel like the release kits in general are. I know I bought the Preserver Obelisk ones. I know I've bought the Shattered Mirror ones. You know, on the discount well after those events happen. So if that's a slow moving product, maybe it's not a big deal
I mean,
to make
we also,
that one.
we could, if the demand is there, make more. You know,
Exactly.
we only make a specific number, but if we realize these are getting very popular and they're selling more, then we could make more. We just have to know that ahead of time. The ultimate point was that we have at least one person who wanted to get one and couldn't. Didn't particularly like the solution that I offered, which is fine, but I did promise to bring this up, so maybe we can revisit it. I don't know.
I guess I would make the motion that we extend it to 12 months if it's currently 6 for starters, and then, you know, if Brian and his team can make the release kits just anybody can buy, I think that would be a great way to drive up revenue pretty easily. It sounds like a slow moving product.
So on the release kit side, would it be literally any site member could buy them, or any tournament director, no matter when or if they've run a tournament, can buy them?
It would be anyone, but it'd be limited to one. Like they can't buy more than one. Once they bought their one kit, they're done.
Okay.
I mean, even if you
Yeah,
have a collector, like let's say it's some collector really loves the promo for the next 2E set. I mean, ideally, yeah, they should run a tournament, but if they are in love with that image and love Trek, they want to buy one kit for themselves. I mean, not ideal, but I mean,
that's my
Well,
thought.
I do not like that. I don't like that at all, actually. Because then, you know, because there are collectors out there who will be like, I'm gonna, you know, that if it's just for collectors, they're not a prize for a tournament anymore, which goes against the spirit of us selling TD passes.
Okay.
That makes me very nervous. So I think, you know, if you're a tournament director in our tournament system, you can buy a kit.
Okay, that's fair.
have run a tournament ever in life, you can buy a kit versus for the release kit.
Can we do something like? First of all, I would suggest not 12 months. Can we do 15? Simply because the scenario where in 2020 I run a regional in April, and in 2021 I want to run a regional in June. I'm outside the 12 months.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
So just 15 months minimizes that situation. Second of all, what if we advertise? What if we compromise with the solution? You don't change anything for regional passes. Leave them exactly the same, so there's not separate coding, or not regional passes, release kits. What if we set aside 3 of every release kit and say, you know, if you're a new tournament director, if you're unable to get one of these, contact Maggie or Charlie or Nick or whomever is managing that, and we do what we do with regionals, where we're like, all right, make a donation of $15 and I will put this in the mail for you because you're a new player and we want to support you. So then and then we just keep track of that, right? So that's like if Paul Hollywood asked for a tournament kit this year, and then Paul Hollywood asked for a tournament kit next year, I could be like, yeah, you should have run a tournament, so you should be able to get one. So I'm gonna say no.
I love that you use Paul Hollywood, and if he
It was
asked me for anything, I would give it to him.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, he looks at you with those beautiful blue eyes. You do whatever
Exactly.
He wants. But especially if he offers you a handshake. That was literally the first name that I could get. I didn't say Captain Picard or anything. It was Paul Hollywood. But anyway, that was my thought. Was so what if we, rather than try to make, like, just to make the programming easier, the rule is 15 months, and then we put a note on there that says, you know, a small number of kits are available for new or lapsed tournament directors. Contact blah. And then if we don't sell them, if nobody asked for them within like the first 2 weeks, they can go back for sale. Just as a hybrid between Maggie's concerns and our desire to enable new groups.
That makes sense to me.
Like it.
Maggie, do you have objections to that?
No. And also I had to look up who Paul Hollywood is, but I don't watch the Great British Bake Off.
Well, you should, because it's amazing.
I just Googled that literally. I grabbed my phone because I was like, who the hell is this person?
It's such a good show, guys. Like if you like baking or anything, you should watch it. It's fantastic.
I had never had any interest in baking shows until I saw the Great British Bake Off, and it is so different than American baking shows that I watched all of them since then.
So I gotta, that's the reason I love it, is because like I hate manufactured conflict on American reality shows. It's just like it's annoying. And you go to the Great British Bake Off, and like the last thing you see at the end of the season is they show you all the contestants hanging out outside of real life because they've become friends and they all support each other and there's no drama. It's just like it's literally all about the food, and it's worth watching. It's on Netflix. Check it out.
Okay, so back to back to Trek. All right, so
Are we out of that rabbit hole? We're just all right.
We're all a little stir crazy right now. That's what
Right.
it is.
A little squirrely.
So 15 months should be the new setting for purchasing a pass, and then an extra some inventory level extra will be set aside for exceptional cases where it's a new tournament director or a returning lapsed tournament director who's outside of that window. They can contact us and get that. So
For release kits only, right? Or are we doing all kits?
I think it was for release kits only.
Yeah, I thought that was release kits. Yeah.
It's the release kit can be we'll give you a release kit, so you're celebrating a new set, and then once you've run that event, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you actually run the release event, that enables you to get whatever you need. So.
But if you don't ever run that release event, you're probably going on Charlie's list. So watch out. All right. So can we get a vote then just to approve that policy in general, and then I will get to work seeing what.
Yeah, I would motion to that. I would motion to that effect.
Second. Charlie seconds. All right. Anyone opposed? All right, then. We'll consider that approved and move on. I didn't see any public comments aside from the things we've already added to the agenda. Did anyone else notice anything anywhere? I'm not watching YouTube at the moment, so I don't see if there's anything there. No.
Oh, I've been answering random comments over on YouTube, so it's fine.
Okay.
Ben Liebig is wondering what the hell is he watching right now as we're talking about the Great British Bake Off. I told him we're baked. Duh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be one of my advertising points for Worlds 2020. By the way, marijuana is legal here in Illinois now.
But if we're in quarantine long enough, it might be legal everywhere by that point.
Right.
That's true.
Doesn't matter if it's legal. If you work for a federal company, you still can't do it.
Let's see. right now we have we're looking for a next meeting date of April 26th. It's tentative. No time set yet. We all have to get our scheduling done as it gets closer. So if there's anyone have any other sort of business they want to bring up at this meeting? No? Okay then. Is there any objection to ending this meeting? All right then, we'll consider it over. Thanks everyone for watching.